Welcome to Get Beyond the Buzz with your host, Susan Cromer. Join Susan and her guests as they explore the subject of medical marijuana and CBD, separating the myth from reality in the journey toward a better quality of life. It's about getting healthy, not getting high. Now, here's your host, Susan Cromer.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me. Today's show is about CBD. My very first guest on Get Beyond the Buzz is Peacock Owens, who produces and co-hosts CBD Talk Podcast. The podcast airs weekly and was created by the need to provide solid, reliable education about cannabidiol, otherwise known as CBD, separate from or without advocating a particular product or company. CBD Talk Podcast's mission is to open the doors to information, scientists, authors, medical professionals, and other leaders in the field to share information in an open and honest forum.
Well, welcome, Dawn. It's so great to have you here. She is our catalyst for why my business partner Tina and I got involved with medical marijuana and CBD. And she's been a great help to us, and we're so excited to have her as our first guest.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you asking.
Great. Well, Dawn, can you tell us why you got started with medical marijuana?
Sure. Sure. So my children and I have a genetic disease called Neil Patel syndrome, and because of that, we can't take certain medications, no NSAIDs, and so pretty much painkillers are out of the question. So because of that, I needed to find an alternative. And having heard stories a decade ago about marijuana and its medicinal effects, I started doing some research, which led me to CBD because I have children and I didn't want to have to worry about the THC in the full cannabis plant. And I found out that not only does it take care of pain, it also works on a myriad of other things, like it's anti-tumoric, anti-inflammatory, antispasmodic, antibacterial, antifungal, just a host of different things. So because of that, I was just very intrigued because there's not a lot of natural things out there that handle so many different aspects, and it just got me down a path and I never turned back. So that's how I got into it, and I just have not turned back.
Great. So tell us about CBD.
Okay. CBD stands for cannabidiol. Some people pronounce it cannabidiol. So, I mean, there's a couple different ways to pronounce it.
Like tomato, right?
Exactly. So what that is it's one of the cannabinoids in the cannabis plant. So you have a cannabis plant, then within the cannabis plant you have cannabinoids and terpenes and phytonutrients and all sorts of interesting things. And then one of the cannabinoids is CBD. And CBD reacts with a couple different receptors in your body, the CB1 receptor in a certain way, and also the CB2 receptor, which is it very easily matches into. And that's a receptor that's in pretty much all over your body. It's also in your skin, it's in organs, it's in your bones, and it's just a great fit for CBD.
And the good thing about CBD, as you said, is that it doesn't have THC. So the THC is what gets you high from
right, and THC is actually a completely different cannabinoid. So there's over 100 different cannabinoids in cannabis. And so THC is one cannabinoid, and that reacts mostly with the CB1 receptor. They are finding new receptors, so we don't want to say it only reacts with, it only fits in with one. And that one is a psychoactive cannabinoid. CBD is not really a psychoactive cannabinoid. It can cause some anxiety if you take too much of it. That would be the only side effect, really, that and a nice sleep. But CBD is known for not having that psychoactive property, and so for children, that would always be my first preference to go to. Some children actually do need THC with certain areas like Dravet syndrome, things like that, because everybody's body is different. But when that comes into play, you can go with a 20-to-1 or an 8-to-1 ratio so that you have a lot more CBD than THC.
Okay. And then, so if it has THC in it, a significant amount of THC, you need to be in a state where it's legal to use medical marijuana, and you have to have
Yeah.
a medical marijuana card. Or
Unless you're in a state where it's legal recreationally. But if it has more than 0.3% THC, then you need to be in a state that has either medical marijuana legalized or just has recreational marijuana.
Okay, and so the CBD, as it's usually sold, because it doesn't have a significant amount of THC, or in some cases they've taken all of it out, it's legal in all 50 states, correct?
Yes, it is legal to purchase in all 50 states. Some states will not allow you to sell it in that state in a store, but you can buy it online.
Okay, great. And let me ask you something. When you started using, did you started with CBD, or did you start with something with THC in it as well?
Initially, at the very beginning, I didn't know about CBD. So I basically would, when I would get a migraine, because I have had a history of migraines in my parents as well since I was very young. But I guess it would have been in my 40s. Excuse me. I had a migraine, and my husband at the time just happened to have some marijuana. So I tried it, and within 90 seconds, my migraine was gone.
Wow.
So it wasn't the Percocet. It wasn't Vicodin. I didn't have to take pharmaceutical, knowing that every time I take a pharmaceutical, it could potentially damage my kidneys. And with our specific genetic defects, 3 out of 5 people end up with kidney failure. So every time I take something for pain, it has to be pretty bad to get me to take something, because I don't want to impair my kidneys. So it was very exciting for me. And it was I had been to a medical marijuana doctor, Dr. Alan Shackelford, who people have probably seen on CNN's Weed. That happened to be my doctor. And this was long before that was filmed. And he had given me a card, or he had approved me for a card, but I never turned it in because I was very worried about being on the registry, with good reason, we find out now. But he had told me, he said, and I said, well, I don't want to get high. I work, I have kids, I don't want that. And he said, Dawn, all it'll take is 2 puffs. If it doesn't work after 2 puffs, it's not going to work. So you're not going to get high off of 2 puffs. Of course, I'm a real lightweight because I haven't done anything. So I was like, oh yeah, sure. 1 glass of wine and I can't function. But so literally 2 puffs, 90 seconds, it was gone.
Wow, that's amazing.
And
you have to be careful even with over-the-counter like Advil or
I can't take any of that.
Yeah.
But the thing is that when they take, so besides Vicodin or Percocet with respect to your kidneys and such, and they couldn't put me on the other migraine medicine because of the side effects also that were bad for NPS patients. But besides that, the Percocet occasionally would make me nauseous. And so with the marijuana, I didn't get that either. I was like, oh my God, what the heck is this? So I knew right then that there was something to it. And so, but I also had to worry about, well, I can't give my kids this. I just can't, So I kept studying and that's when I found out more about the CBD, and that's when I started working with that. And with pain, with migraines, except for hormone migraines. I still haven't found anything that really works well with hormone migraines, but that's a different story. But anxiety, depression, it's really an amazing thing. And so the more I studied, the more I found out about the endocannabinoid system and how CBD actually supports the endocannabinoid system. And that's what's actually helping your body create that homeostasis to help improve your health.
Wow, that's so amazing. So tell me, you started to use this on your children. What was the reaction from family, friends? What did they?
I didn't tell them because at the time I knew that people were thinking that it was something that it's not. There's a lot of stigma out there, and to be honest, I didn't want to deal with it. And so I did not tell them. But there isn't, one of the things that's really important is that CBD is not THC. Everyone thinks medical marijuana. What they're thinking about is the high, and what that comes from is THC. There are over 100 different cannabinoids that have nothing to do with THC. That's like saying, I'm not going to eat a watermelon because there's a seed in it. Well, what about the rest of the watermelon?
Mm-hmm.
You know, just go around the seeds. Just don't eat the seeds. So to label an entire plant because of one of the components in it that in certain strains happens to be very high is just not right. It's, you know, I wouldn't go out and buy a watermelon that specifically was more than half seeds. So, you know, that I go and I buy the seedless watermelon.
Right.
Exactly. So
that's a great analogy, actually. So,
well,
and then also, a lot of the CBD is actually coming from hemp, correct? Not from
hemp and cannabis, both. You can get CBD from both of those. And there's a lot of stories about which one works better but the science is still out on that. But you can get CBD from hemp. You can get CBD from cannabis, which actually there's subsets of each. You know, everything is classified as one, and then you break it down. So, but it is available from hemp and also from marijuana. You just have to look for less than 0.3% THC, and that's where it will be non-psychoactive.
And that is also where it's legal to be sold. So if you're getting it online, that should be.
So if it's being sold online, it should have less than 0.3% THC to be classified as industrial hemp. And that is how it can be sold nationwide and shipped nationwide.
Okay, so the people that are buying it online don't need to worry about that as far as that they're going to be breaking the law or anything like that.
No.
So I'm in Virginia, and it is not a medical marijuana state. So I know I get that question a lot, and I think it is important for people to know because it's helped a lot of people I know already that I've shared it with. So, and I know from your stories how many people it's helped. So once you did tell your family, I mean, were they okay with it? I mean, I'm sure they know now because you're so active in the.
Yeah, they are. And I've educated them quite a bit. And also I have family in non-medical states as well. And my mother is now off of one of her seizure meds. And by increasing, because I had gotten her on CBD and we increased it to the point that she was able to come off of one of the meds, and we're working on reducing other ones as well, pain medication. She has spinal stenosis, but she also has Neil patella syndrome. But she's 76 now, and so she really doesn't care if it affects her kidneys at this point. She just doesn't want to be in pain. And so she's on Oxycontin.
Oof.
Yeah. So we are, and of course the side effects of some of the medications that she's on, they've classified her as pre-Alzheimer's now, or beginning Alzheimer's. She's having seizures and all sorts of things. And as we take her off of medicines one by one and increase the CBD, her seizures are going away, or just very minimal compared to what they were before.
And that's without you've taken her off the seizure medication. She's come off
She was on 3 seizure medications.
Wow.
So we've got her down to 2 now. And then we're going to work on reducing another one. See, that's the thing is you don't just flip a switch.
Right.
That's dangerous. And so we're trying to do this in a safe and effective way for her, so that her body doesn't end up going into some weird shock type of situation.
Right, because you don't know what all the different medications are doing. So, I mean,
and when and my sister's actually an RN. So the problem is you have all these medications contradicting each other, and then you're taking medications to help side effects from medications, and it just gets into a very much of a tangled web. And so we are one by one reducing things or removing things from a protocol. We're increasing the CBD She's in Tennessee, so it's a non-marijuana state right now. Actually, I think they're just submitting something to help with that, to start the medical marijuana process in that state. So I think it will. I think by next year, this time next year, it'll be legal. But she can take CBD. I'm not sure with everything that she has that CBD will be able to do everything we need it to do. So sometimes you need to go that THC route, and then once somebody gets stabilized to a point, then you can start reducing the THC as well. But it's just, it's an amazing compound. It's an amazing cannabinoid. I really recommend that everybody have it in their medicine cabinet. Honest to goodness. I burned myself on the toaster oven the other day and blistered up right away. I have a topical CBD that a friend of mine actually made, and she sells it. I know a lot of people in the industry. And so I put it on there right away, and it blistered up. Next day, the blister was gone, and I just kept putting it on several times during the day. Whenever it started hurting, I'd put more on. And it's gone now.
Oh, that's great. So, and that's the great thing about CBD as well, is that there really aren't side effects from the CBD, except, like you said, typical, maybe get anxious if you take too much, but then you just back down off of it.
Exactly. And knowing that how safe it is, I mean, literally it is safer than aspirin. Honest to goodness, it is safer than aspirin. Aspirin can give you ulcers and bleeding problems, and also stomach problems and a bunch of things. But so the two things that CBD can do is it can make you tired, not like drugged tired, but just tired. And the second thing is it can actually cause some anxiety. There's a biphasic effect with CBD. So meaning that if you take too much, okay, so everyone seems to have the feeling that take more for something to be better, because in pharmaceuticals, that's kind of it. If you're still in pain, just take more, Well, with CBD, you have to find that sweet spot for yourself. And sometimes you take more, but if you're feeling anxiety, that's saying don't take more, take less. So the good thing to do is to start off at, let's say you're taking like a 25 milligram per milliliter dosing. So I would say, start off at half a milliliter, work up, and see how that does for you. Maybe then move it up to a milliliter if you're doing well at the half a milliliter. But if you start feeling like you're getting anxious for no reason, then just back down. And the thing is the way that your body works with the endocannabinoid system, when you start taking CBD, it's going to wake that up. Your body naturally makes cannabinoids. So when you start taking CBD and you start stimulating your endocannabinoid system, it will start creating cannabinoids, which your body needs to be regulated, to be self-regulated. So what happens a lot of times is you start taking a larger dose. Like at the very beginning when I started taking CBD regularly, I was taking it 4 or 5 times a day for several days. And then it was 3 times a day. And then a couple days later, it's twice a day. And then now it's just once a day, unless I start feeling symptoms, and then I just add more. So what happens is it wakes up your body. Your body starts getting balanced out, and then you need less and less in certain cases. So it's just really important to listen to your body, and you can't get it wrong. You can't get it wrong. So if you want to try taking more, see how that affects you, do it. Just my recommendation is to go to your pharmacist, and they have in the back the free little medicine syringes. Mm-hmm. Get one with the milliliter markings on it so that you know what you're taking. Write it down. Just have a little journal. Write down what you're taking, how much you're taking, when you're taking it, so that way you can see what works for you. Because you may take the same amount for 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and then all of a sudden you're realizing, oh, I don't need it as much, and then you're backing down. And then if you start having a problem with something, then just raise it back up again. Be responsible for your health, and just listen to your body and keep track of what you're doing. So that way, if you want to look back and say, gosh, I felt so much better during the summer. I wonder what was happening. Then then you can take a look and see, well, what was I taking back then? How much was I taking? And as your body changes, your needs change. And that actually should be across the board with anything that you're taking, any pharmaceutical that you're taking, or any vitamin that you're taking, any supplement. Just watch what you're taking, and don't be afraid to increase or decrease to see how that impacts your health.
I think that's great advice, because I know trying to get the people that I've helped get the CBD, it's so different from pharmaceuticals. So they're it's like, well, I'm taking this amount. I said, yeah, but you got to kind of check in with how you're feeling.
Exactly.
And if you're taking it for pain or anxiety or something, and you feel good, and then all of a sudden you're anxious again, we'll take a little more. And then you may take it 3 or 4 times a day, and then you'll see the next day you don't need as much, or in a week or 2 weeks, whatever it is. I said, you just got to be aware. And it's kind of weird for people, I think, I kind of tell them again and again, because it's so different from, it's not just necessarily take, like you take 2 pills a day or 1 every 12 hours.
Exactly. Well, if you're hungry, you eat.
Right.
If your symptoms come back, you take some more. And that's kind of it. It's because it's not a synthetic compound that you're putting in your body. It's something that your body needs. Well, if your body needs it, it's going to tell you. If your body needs calories, it's going to tell you. It's going to make you hungry. If your body needs the cannabinoid, your symptoms will come back, and you just take some more. You treat your symptoms. This isn't a drug.
Right. And you're not going to get hooked on it. It doesn't get you high.
Exactly.
That's what people have to understand. It's not going to be, oh, I take this much now and I'm never going to be able to take less, or I'm going to have to keep taking more. And
no, that's not it. That's not at all. That is completely not it. Because if you're in the cannabinoid system starts working again the way it's supposed to, the way that nature intended it to do, before our animals stopped eating hemp in the fields, and then we ate the beef or the pork or whatever, and got cannabinoids through that way. We had flour, we had hemp seeds, we had all sorts of things 100 years ago that had hemp in it, and our bodies needed it. It's a natural product. It was plentiful when our grandparents were around. It hasn't been plentiful in a very long time. And gee, now what? Like every other person has cancer?
Mm-hmm.
What is that about? So it's just another natural product. If your body needs it, it'll tell you. Take it. But the thing is that most people have been living in such a state for most of their lives, they don't even realize that they could be feeling better. And that was one of the things I was like, oh, I don't feel bad. Why should I take it? I took it. It's like, oh my God, I feel so much better. And then as it would wear off, I'd feel the pain coming back that I'd become so accustomed to it.
Just learn to live with it. Yeah. You just,
because that's what we do,
Yeah.
Especially women and moms.
That's right. Just keep going. It's been great for me and the people I know. I love it. Okay. So that has been very, very helpful, and it's great to have you again on our first show. And, we will, I'm sure, want to talk to you again because you're always a wealth of information. So at the last thing, if you can tell me what's the real buzz you want everyone to know about, either CBD or medical marijuana, what's the one thing you'd like to tell people?
Okay, I would like to tell people that they should try it, because if nothing else, I want them to know how it affects you. People are so afraid of it. If they just tried it and just got just a very small bottle of it or something like that, but make sure that there's a good substantial amount of CBD in it. Don't get something that just has such a little amount that it don't even, that it wouldn't even affect anything, because I want them to know that it does not make you high, and they're not going to believe you. So they need to try it themselves. So get a bottle, get 5 people together, everybody take a milliliter, and you'll see.
How would they know, just real quick, how much is in the bottle, of CBD?
Well, if you're going to buy a bottle of CBD, let's say you get a fluid ounce, make sure that, I would say, make sure there's 750 milligrams of CBD in there. You could probably get by with 500. Don't ever buy less than 500 milligrams of CBD. Also, you want it to be full spectrum. You want the other cannabinoids in there, and you want the terpenes and the flavonoids in there. You don't want just an isolate. But I really want you people to try it. I want you to know what it feels like so that you understand this is not something that gets you high. This is not Fast Times at Ridgemont High for the old people like us. You know?
This is, yeah.
It's completely
This is how you're supposed to feel. You're supposed to feel good. You're not supposed to ache everywhere and not sleep well. And
I've got nothing against medical marijuana. For me, I rarely take anything with THC in it. But that's me. That's just me. So I have nothing against it for anyone. For me, CBD works better for what I need, for my personal needs in my body. But truly, try it before you judge it. Try CBD before you judge it. And remember, when a bill comes across or something comes across on your ballot to vote for in November about medical marijuana, CBD is included in that at this point. Take into account, okay, I've tried it. This is what it does. This is what it can do for children with epilepsy, for people with multiple sclerosis, for rheumatoid arthritis, for cancer, for asthma. For me, I'm not taking Advair anymore because I'm taking CBD. I'm vaping CBD. Think about all those people that your vote is going to impact, and that the side effects that they're having to endure because they don't have a safe alternative. So think about that child with leukemia that's getting chemo or radiation, that's horrifically sick because of the side effects of the treatment that they're getting, and how CBD or medical marijuana can erase all those side effects. Those side effects can be gone, but you're making them suffer because you have a stigma against something that you don't even know anything about. So try it and then vote.
Great advice. Thank you, Dawn. It's been wonderful. You're just great. We love you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Please go to www.getbeyondthebuzz.com. We have lots of information there to help you gain the knowledge you need to safely and effectively use medical marijuana and CBD. Listen, learn, share what you hear so people don't suffer needlessly. That's it for now. Until next time, this is Susan Cromer. May you be healthy and prosper.